Alright, settle down, pilots, and welcome to your first round of weapon familiarity training. Your rifle should be your best friend. Without it, you're useless. This time, we're taking a look at the R-101C carbine. The R-101C is a fully automatic carbine-length assault rifle designed to fit a wide range of roles across the frontier. It's standard issue for both the IMC and militia forces, and represents the pinnacle of small arms design today. The weapon fires conventional polymer-cased cartridges with an 8mm copper-jacketed tungsten penetrator propelled at an extremely high velocity. The platform is of a modular design, and the carbine variant has a high part commonality with both the compact R97 SMG and longbow DMR configurations. The angled magwell and generous trigger guard reveal these weapons' shared traits, and by swapping out a few parts, it's possible to tailor the rifle to an altogether different role. Truly a flexible weapon, its ease of use and adaptability have ensured popularity both at home and the frontier. On to performance. Terminal ballistics are adequate, but by no means impressive. The R-101 is a mid-damage weapon. Against conventional human targets, 2 rounds should prove sufficient, but the superior armour of enemy pilots will mean you'll need at least 4 rounds to secure a kill at close range and 5 rounds at a distance. The same applies to enemy Spectres. Their resistant construction means you'll need the same number of shots to kill as an enemy pilot. Headshots do count, and can reduce the number of shots needed to just 3 rounds, or fewer if your opponent is already wounded. When used directly against Titans, damage is negligible. It's only worth firing as a last-ditch effort, or in cases where their shields are depleted and hull critically low. Rodeo damage is more acceptable, allowing you to chip away an enemy Titan's hull at a moderate rate, with an undamaged chassis taking around 3 magazines to dispatch. The R-101's effective range is good compared to other automatic options, retaining its 4-shot ability out to a middle range. Over longer sightlines, you'll notice diminished performance, and while you'll generally only need a single additional shot to kill, if your opponent is moving or in cover, this extra strike may prove elusive. This is exacerbated by the weapon's intrinsic cone of fire. Although seldom an issue within your effective range, at an extreme range, you may struggle to position shots with pinpoint accuracy. Recoil is present but generally easy to wrangle. It's only over longer sightlines, outside the weapon's effective range, where you may struggle to hit your mark. In most cases, firing in short bursts will help to keep your weapon's kick in check. Cyclic rate of fire is a fairly generous 810 rounds per minute. Comfortable enough for close range work, although the SMGs on offer will outpace you. At full tilt, this will give you 2.2 seconds of sustained fire from the 30-round magazine. This grants more staying power than some automatic weapons, but it's generally wise to fire in bursts as to not prematurely deplete your supply. Reloads can be an inconvenience, but the duration is bearable enough. A tactical reload will take just 2.2 seconds to complete, and even when empty, the total rechambering process takes less than 3 seconds. Handling is generally acceptable, the carbine's mid-tier performance representative of its versatility. Hipfire performance is fairly average, falling some way behind the unaimed accuracy of the SMGs and pistols available. Aim time is again thoroughly average, taking 300 milliseconds to ready your scope. Paired with the mediocre hipfire performance, this will give weapons with a close range focus an advantage in tighter quarters. Switch times can also prove troublesome. An unreadied R-101 is the slowest weapon to bring to bear, with a full second delay before you'll be able to fire. Your mobility will be lower than with some other weapons too, with a 5% penalty when compared to the lightest weapons on offer. Overall, the R-101C is a versatile weapon with few flaws, capable of supporting a wide range of tactics. This gives you considerable flexibility when it comes to selecting your loadout. The carbine's iron sights are perfectly adequate for most engagements out to a middle range, and while some of your view is occluded, the target area is clear for the most part. Using the weapon without an optic isn't too painful then, but the addition of a dedicated scope can help you to tailor the rifle to your preferred role. The HGOG is a very versatile option that suits similar ranges to the integral iron sights, but offers a more unhindered view on target. It's probably the most versatile option and best suited to close-range use of the R-101. The hollow sight offers 2.1 times magnification, slightly more than either the HGOG or iron sights, and thus making the weapon slightly better suited to ranged combat. If you can put at least some distance between you and your opponent, the higher magnification may give you an edge, better permitting accurate fire. This optic is the perfect match for those content to take command of a rooftop and tackle enemies in the fray below, while still preserving a good portion of close-range ability. If you'd sooner embrace a long-ranged role, then the Advanced Optical Gun Sight, or AOG, offers the highest possible magnification at 2.4 times. No other choice will give you a better view on target, but the scope body will obscure much of your peripheral vision, and the narrower field of view may compromise your close-range ability. There's nothing better for ranged work, but electing this attachment does force you to play conservatively, else you may discover that you're at a disadvantage in a close-range scrap. Overall, the R-101C works best for mid-range engagements, so I'd elect either the HGOG or hollow sight attachment, depending on how close you prefer to get to your opponent. The iron sights work well enough too, although the clearer sight picture of the HGOG makes it a worthwhile investment once it's available to you. Next up, there are two mods available for the carbine, and both are beneficial within the right circumstance. Extended magazines grants you longer between reloads, with 40 rounds capacity instead of 30. This is sometimes critically useful, as running out of rounds mid-firefight is seldom good for the outcome, so you can equip this mod with little fear of harming your performance. The alternative option is the Suppressor. This will prevent you from appearing on your enemy's radar when firing your weapon, but comes at the expense of a significant portion of damage. You'll need an extra bullet to kill, both at a close range and a distance. Still, remaining undetected is a very valuable trait, particularly if you plan on striking the enemy's flank or rear, as you will be able to dole out considerable damage before your firing location is compromised. Overall, your choice of mod should be reflected by your preferred approach. If you want to operate covertly and close to your opponent, then the Suppressor will be a very valuable part of your build, as avoiding detection will grant you the upper hand when facing unaware opposition. If, on the other hand, you prefer to face enemies head-on, then the damage loss from the Suppressor may put you at a disadvantage, particularly if you're outside the R-101's effective range. For most purposes, the extended magazines offer a greater overall benefit. 10 extra bullets with no downsides whatsoever will prove more useful than the stealth benefits of the Suppressor and the cost of weapon damage. Beyond your attachments, your loadout choices are broad. With the R-101 supporting a wide variety of tactics, there's no specific kit or equipment demand. Perhaps most useful in Tier 1 is the Quick Reload Kit, smartening up your reloads and minimizing your rifle's downtime. While the stock weapon is no slouch in this department, any time shaved off could potentially prove decisive in a gunfight. The active radar pulse in your tactical ability slot is also worth considering, as the weapon suffers in reactive ability. Being able to anticipate your enemy's movement in closer quarters can help you to position your sights ahead of their advance. Otherwise, the remaining parts of your loadout come down to your own preference, so tailor the remaining aspects to your preferred focus. The key to making effective use of the carbine is to stay within the weapon's generous comfort zone. Avoid combat at extreme ranges, neither engaging opponents too far away nor too close. Overall, you'll find the R-101 quite forgiving, and the majority of the skill needed with the weapon comes not from positioning, but straightforward awareness and accuracy. If you focus on anticipating your enemy's movements, and can target them with precision when they appear in your sights, you'll seldom be left wanting in terms of performance. The mediocre reactive fire ability means any movement should be carefully considered. Rushing headlong into combat may put you at a disadvantage versus a more able foe. A hint of caution will help ensure your longevity, and with good situational awareness, you can occupy an advantageous position for a while, and deal a lot of damage in the meantime. The R-101C carbine is an incredibly versatile weapon, capable of remaining competitive across a wide range band. Nothing else comes close to this adaptability, and so it's little wonder it's the most common firearm seen across the frontier. At its core, the weapon's key strength is in its ease of use. With such a broad ability, you don't need to consider your firing position, nor the weapon your opponent is using. 99% of the time, the carbine will prove good enough. Its handling and ergonomics are adequate, with the relatively mild recoil only proving problematic outside your effective range. Up close, you may find yourself outclassed. SMGs and shotguns will have a clear advantage in a scrap, so it's wise to keep some distance between yourself and more mobile enemy pilots. Similarly, DMRs and sniper rifles can spell trouble. A distance spec on a rooftop might pose a considerable threat, and your limited ability to direct multiple shots onto such a target might mean that fleeing into cover grants the best odds of survival. Still, it's rare that the weapon will frustrate you with any shortcoming, and while more specialized weapons may be able to leverage their advantage, the R-101C puts the onus firmly on their skill to do so. It's truly a gun for all seasons, capable up close and out to a considerable range, with ample capacity and a forgiving rate of fire. If you can't perform at your best with the R-101, you might want to brush up on your basics. Thank you very much for your presence, and join me next time when we'll be covering the EVA 8 shotgun. Until then, farewell.